me that the price is coming down for trash collection?
No,
According to this?
the price is staying the same, although it is eligible for a 2% discount, so that would bring
Well,
it down.
no, this says about a single family residential property utilizing carts, 156 per year. It says $13 monthly per cart for once a week collection,
Oh, I think there's, so
There are two
there's,
pieces. There are two pieces.
yeah,
collection and disposal charges.
yeah. When you
Right
get,
now, it's like 30-some,
32, 34.
yeah.
32, 34.
And-
$13 is the pickup fee.
you can give the mic,
19.30.
Oh, so you mean we're still gonna be paying 32, 30?
Yeah.
So then I do have, since you explained the monthly or maybe the quarterly, annually to put on people, $400 sometimes added to their city tax. It's gonna be a lot of money. So if we can have the option,
well, you would have the option. The
As long
proposal
as-
gives the option, and you have a variety of different options. You could also, you could choose to pay it during the penalty period or the
Right.
discount period, or do it monthly, or do it on a quarterly plan. So there's a lot of options, but it's a change. It's
yeah, so
definitely
I
a change.
think maybe, because like I took this to be, oh boy, the bill's gonna be cut in half. Well, then I can go with an annual bill.
Oh, okay.
But if it's not gonna be cut in half, I think this needs explained.
Right,
little
I
bit
believe
more.
you're looking at the collection rates, but there's a collection and a disposal.
Well, that's what this says. Oh, okay,
That
but
was taken out.
what's not out of here.
The bracket means that that has been deleted.
This whole thing.
That just says.
I should introduce Ron, our lawyer with the law department. That's the man in the red tie.
So what does this
Yes.
say then? The
So
collection
there were two
rates?
versions that were back there to be picked up. There was
Uh-huh.
one that had the brackets and the underlining were things that were going to be added or removed. And then there
Okay.
was a clean version that didn't have the brackets and.
And I think the clean version then doesn't have any rates in it, maybe.
Okay, we should read the clean version, because the clean version will help you
Is this the
to
clean?
navigate, yes, to
Well,
navigate
The
the,
bottom line is, we're not planning to change, we're not proposing to change the rates other than offering potentially the discount and
Right.
eliminating the vacant property fee. Those are the two changes that are changing our rates. Everything else in the rates stay where they are. It's, the method of billing is what's being proposed change.
Okay, and then my other concern would be maybe with recycling, if maybe once or twice a year, they could send out flyers and collect televisions that are sitting around the city. I know there's a recycling drop-off, but I have noticed an abundance of TVs being put out.
Where'd John go?
Well, according to the ordinance now, every city resident is allowed to take electronics, TVs to Dauphin County Recycle Center for
Correct.
free.
Yes.
As long as you have your identification showing that you are a resident.
Yes, and I do, but I have seen televisions dropped off near the trash cans. When people put their garbage out, they put televisions, or somebody drops them. So I had called to see if, because I have a rental property, and they always leave TVs. So I always take them to Dauphin County. But one of them is so big, I cannot lift it. And I know they don't make house calls to pick up the televisions. But I was wondering if once or twice a year, like when you have your leaf pickup or something, if people could put televisions, drag them out to the curb, and then recycling could come and pick them up and take them. Just, a truck just for electronics.
That's something that we'll discuss, but for presently, if you have a
Yeah.
TV in the rear of your property or that you can't pick up, if you can give the information to the young lady right here, we will take care of the TV that you could move.
Well, I can get rid of mine then, but I noticed some of my neighbors have them.
Okay, if you can give the information of your
Okay.
neighbors to young lady, we'll take care of that.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Dan Lewis, and Dave, I want to give you some kudos. I had put a bulk item out at the curb, did not get picked up. I didn't understand, it was a treadmill, had some electronic components to it. And I didn't understand why they didn't pick it up. I emailed, it was picked up that day with the explanation that because of the electronic part of it, it requires a special truck and a special payment.
Yes.
You guys were right there, so thank you.
Thank you.
For cleaning it. They waived the fee on it. Maybe getting ahead of things. I like what's going on. Is there any prospects at all or any discussion on doing something with the tires? There's more tires than there is TVs.
Hey, John, in the back, do you want to talk about tires? Because I know you've done some research on tires.
Yeah, I know you're
Yeah.
redoing all these playgrounds, and shredded tires would be excellent on those playgrounds.
Okay. Question is, what can we do with all the tires? And have we explored the possibility of recycling?
Well, today we took a bunch of tires collected from hither and yon to a recycler, and it cost us quite a bit of money to do that. It's not hard to recycle tires, and I mean, we've never discussed, just taking in tires from the public. For about $2.50, you can take your tires to most of the tire retailers and get them recycled. Most of the time when people change tires at a tire store for a fee,
Right,
they get recycled. We can consider, using city money to just let people bring their tires in. And then we take them to get them recycled. And the place where we take them grinds the stuff up, and you can use it for playgrounds and things like that.
That was just that's where I was with it. Thank you.
It's also good for mulch, really good for mulch around houses. Was
So
there a question?
there was a proposal for maybe we could do a once-a-year electronics pickup because of all the televisions and everything else. And so we're making
Well,
note of these.
I'll say something very briefly about that. Every time you announce something like that in the city of Harrisburg and it goes out on any of the TV channels or anywhere else, the newspaper, it attracts attention from everybody all over the place. And there are plenty of areas where you can't get rid of the electronics. But we have a plan. And we'll be talking about that in the future, so please stay tuned. We have a strategy for making this happen. And it will help people who don't have the ability to take the TVs themselves. And but I see it as a personal challenge to get rid of all the CRT monitors and televisions in Harrisburg, because there's a finite number of them, not making any more, and I want to get rid of them. Harrisburg is a nice little town. We should be able to do this kind of thing without too much trouble. So I hope you look forward to what we have to say.
Good evening. My name is Bill Hocker. Things have gotten better, but I'm sort of an expert on your trash over the last 70-some years. And there's a couple of things that I saw that, TVs can be recycled, but only if the glass isn't broken. And when they sit on the streets, they break the glass to pull the copper off the back of the. So there's another issue. One of the other things is if I haul trash out myself, do I need a license for that, or?
No,
Yes.
if you're,
For
go
myself? Out of my properties or whatever. I need a license to do that.
Yes, from the city of Harrisburg.
To clean up my own properties, I need a license to haul trash from my properties.
The problem with that is all trash that is accumulated in the city of Harrisburg must be taken to the incinerator for the count for the city of Harrisburg. And what happens with that is you would have multiple, residents or even commercial properties, they will take their own trash because you have to pay $190 at the incinerator. They'll take it to a landfill, which they'll pay $60, and it will not be accounted for by the city of Harrisburg.
That's a heck of a deal, even the way I do math, you know?
That's why we must pick your trash up.
But not a business license. That-
No.
Just so you use the word license, we're not requiring you to get that, okay?
The other thing is, you talked about compost. I don't know if you're aware, but Swatire Township has a compost unit, which was, when they got that, they got it through a grant, and Harrisburg was included in that. People from Harrisburg can take compost, limbs, trees, whatever, to Swatire Township for a small fee. He did cover the one bill, which I'm glad, you know, that we can still pay that monthly. And the other thing I really find maybe gonna be an issue, I have a 4-yard dumpster. And I'm not quite sure whatever ends up in that. I mean, I feel good that if people throw stuff in it instead of just throwing it anywhere. So is there some place or somebody somewhere down the road, whether it's Dave or whoever, that we can maybe just get together and say, this is acceptable, this isn't, because there's no way to be sure what's going into that dumpster. And if we get somebody throwing, let's say, plastic bottles in there or whatever you deem as a infraction of your rules and regulations, am I going to be fined for that? How's that going to work?
No, your dumpster is the dumpster around there by the Moose Lodge, right
Yeah,
there at the end behind it.
yeah,
Yes.
the Elks,
So, right,
the Elks,
the Elks, okay.
Yeah.
And if you would put a chain on your dumpster with a lock and you would give it to us,
Well, see,
the time that we-
I'll be honest with you, I really don't have a problem with people putting stuff in there, otherwise I gotta pick it up. So it's like a catch-22, you know, I mean, you win but you lose. You know what I'm saying? And I
Well-
have 10 units in there or whatever, 10 different houses, whatever it is, that people use that, so we have a little bit of an issue there. I mean, I spend a lot of time picking up bottles and stuff around the neighborhood and so forth. So, I mean, I have a vested interest in there, is what I'm saying.
So as you know, you're charged not based on how much trash is in your dumpster, but by the size of the dumpster. So,
Right. Well, yes and no.
Right, if it were to overflow the dumpster or to be more than the dumpster, then theoretically, but we'll work with you. The point is,
Yes.
we would absolutely work with you. And the intent is not to penalize you because somebody else is dumping trash in your
Well-
dumpster. That's where we bring in our enforcement team and we try and identify it. Maybe we could set up some cameras. I mean, we would come up with a plan.
Yeah, well, you know, over the years, I've seen some things I've had the city shut off my water because I had a dispute with the trash bill. And then we were supposed to move out of the house, or they were gonna come and shut the electric off. So I have some issues that just don't seem to be quite the way government should work.
So we want to work with you.
Well, I hope so, and like I say, things have gotten better, so, you know, but it's kind of a positive move, but I don't wanna get in the dark side again, I guess, you know.
Right.
I hate it when you slap me around anyhow.
Yeah, well,
So, all right.
yeah. And as you know, the city water system is now completely disconnected from trash. So,
That's
yeah.
another question.
okay,
The city used to do the street cleaning.
that's right.
okay, At a certain price.
It's true.
Well, the water department took it over and the price has gone up twice since then. Of course, I haven't seen any rebate from the city because they're not doing that now.
So, yeah.
Let's hear that.
Yeah, well, actually, what.
I'm
what-
okay with that, but I'm
Okay.
just saying that, you know, it's not all that great, you know, I mean, there's always a catch somewhere, so.
Well, under the consent decree that we have with, regarding the pollution of the, you know, potential pollution of the environment, it is Capital Region Water's responsibility to do street cleaning. They asserted their right to sort of take that over from the city, and we simply took the employees that used to do that and put them into other tasks. throughout the city. So we didn't lay people off because that happened, so.
No, I
our costs- yeah.
understand. I'm just saying that they raised their rates, but the city used to pay for
Yes.
it, but they never gave me a rebate.
And I will note, we are not proposing raising our trash rates, which I know, are high. If anything, we're proposing hopefully discounting
Yeah,
them
they
a little
are
bit,
high.
a little
They are
bit.
high
But,
because I know-
whereas Capital Region Water, everything else seems to be going up, 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 we're proposing not only keeping our trash rates where they are, reducing them a little bit, but also continuing to offer recycling for free. And that's gonna, over time, because of the way the markets are, that the city's gonna have to absorb that.
Yeah.
So just know that.
is
No price increases on the horizon from our standpoint with
Well,
regard to
Lower
trash.
Paxton Township is about $125 a month, where Harrisburg's $300 to $400 for the same thing.
And
And
again,
that's the good news.
and that has to do with we are required to pay $190 a ton to tip.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the good news.
Yeah.
They supply a free dumpster, Harrisburg doesn't. Is that in the future, or? I'm not letting you get out of here
Yeah,
without
that's good.
You know,
Well, we're gonna write that down on the list of suggestions.
They pay a monthly fee.
Yeah.
They pay a monthly fee.
Yeah, they would say nothing's ever free, although the dumpster's
Well-
free, you pay for it over time. But
Yes.
yeah, well, I mean, it's cheaper than $800 even the way I do math. So if you want to do math sometime, we can sit down.
Okay. No, we know that our rates are expensive, and that it has to do with the historical legacy of the Harrisburg and
How
Center.
long does that run?
That was a 20-year deal, and we are only in year 5, right? So
You probably won't have to
15
worry
more
about-
years, and
Probably won't have to
then,
worry about me
yeah,
back
well-
then, but, so, all right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good evening, Mayor. I'm Pierre Ritter, 2712 Greenwood Street here in the city. This is about a dumpster. Waste Management placed a dumpster in the 2700 block of Greenwood Street about a month ago. It's empty right now. I've called Waste Management about 6 times. I called the city codes enforcement. They said I had to wait 30 days until they could act on it. I've sent an email with some pictures to the mayor's office, but I don't know if you got it or not. So I was asking for some help about getting this dumpster moved off of the 2700 block of Greenwood, which is taking up vital parking area.
do you know anything about it?
I don't know anything about it.
Do you know what business?
Waste
it-
Management.
No, I get that,
Oh.
but who had ordered the
There's
dumpster?
there's no construction there. One of my neighbors who's
Just a
here.
random dumpster.
There's random
There's
dumpster.
nothing that's been in it for,
No construction, no demolition, anything in our block.
We will look into it tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name's Steve Kozlowski, and we're going to change the subject a little bit. I resided my entire life, 67 years, right on the other side of the alley here at 902 South 19th Street. I want to know why that address is not listed as part of the eminent domain. I did receive a random phone call maybe 8 months ago where I've been working with a commercial realtor, Mr. Gladstone. He's been telling me, but I never received anything official from the city about this proposal. And I think it was kind of irresponsible that I had to hear this secondhand. I already received a proposal from PennDOT a year ago that my property might be a part of the widening of when they come down here to 19th Street. Now, I lived there in that house before there was even an 83. But now, I've just been hearing, Mr. Gladstone was kind enough to tell me that this was on the docket or in the meetings, but I never heard anything officially on any kind of letterhead stationery from the city or anything, and I think it's kind of irresponsible that I didn't hear anything definite from the city.
Okay.
And like I said, there's only two, there's a rental place, but there's only 2 people that live on the other side. I'm 67, and there's a 90-year-old woman, widow that lives there. She lived there for 70 years, and now we're forced to move out. And like I said, we've only been hearing this from an independent commercial realtor, Mr. Gladstone. We never heard anything officially from either the city or city council.
okay. So let me try and get you an answer on 902. Neil, you're in the back there. 902 is not on the list. Is that a property that we are,
So,
Can you come up?
represents the city of Harrisburg as the realtor. official city council approval of the sales agreement for your property, and we've already executed the one for the other woman you were speaking of. And my understanding is yours goes to the end of this year. That was by December 18th, I think, or 16th.
But I never received anything official that this was going to happen from the city of Harrisburg.
Mr. Gladstone returned the papers to us, that's what, so
Yeah, right.
I will
But
get back
it
with you.
seems kind of,
It's
the officials
it's
involved is
approved, it's official, the money is set aside to do it, and I will get back with you and Mr. Gladstone, but the contract was signed.
But that's a sale, that's not, the reason it's not on the list is because these are the ones that are subject to, right. The list is the ones that are subject to eminent domain, which is gonna be the court proceeding, and yours was, my understanding was it was a negotiated sale, and so there's been an agreement that's come to. But speak to Mr. Grover, so that we're sure that we're all on the same page.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good evening, Mayor Pappenfuss and administration. My name is Carol Graves, and I live at 1922A Market Street in Harrisburg, and it's not an apartment. I try to keep the even side of the 1900 block of Market Street clean, as well as the alley, the 1900 block of Ethel Alley. People continually illegally dump trash on Ethel Street. There is one section that there is no lighting. People have emptied their entire house out back in that alley. Now, I will say, Mr. West, yes, the sanitation department, they came out and they cleaned it out. And every time I've called, they've come to clean it out. But I've asked also for a camera and additional lighting out there in that alley, because there's a certain section where all those garages are, that's where they dump. Now there are TVs out there. I know they didn't come from the houses in the 1900 block. They are huge old televisions that are out there, glass broken, but every week somebody is dumping something there. And I'm hoping that something can be done about it. Also, I hope that there can be fines made for people dumping trash on the street itself. They'll come and park on Market Street, they don't live there, and they empty the trash from their car. Pizza boxes, things from McDonald's, bottles, I clean that stuff up. And I don't think it's fair to me. I want to see the city of Harrisburg beautified. And we should have fines like other cities in order to keep our neighborhoods clean, for not only for myself, but for themselves and for health-wise. You know, the kids coming from school from Harrisburg High, they come, drop their trash, tear the stuff up. You know, we should have some type of recycle bins, probably at every corner, that these kids can put their trash in. You know, it doesn't make sense. You know, this used to be a beautiful city, you know, and now it's being trashed. And if we would implement, you know, some more fines because of these violations, you know, let the people know what's going on. You know, have that stuff posted out there for them. But I would like to see, you know, something done, you know, to help beautify the city. Thank you.
Thank you. We are working on the cans for the corners, the receptacles. We are working on that issue, and we will address the issue of the rear of your property with the traffic director, with the lighting, and we will also have our enforcement officer. He was there actually yesterday. He was there yesterday, and we will address that issue in the rear of your property where those garages are.
Yeah, my name is Scott Lewis. I have just something I want to ask for clarification. I think I understand it, but I want to hear it and make sure I have this right. And then just a quick comment. So my clarification is on the composting and the recycling as being mandatory. That is not to be interpreted, is it, as saying I cannot home compost, or I cannot take my personal recyclables to, let's say, CSR, and get cash for those things. This is not to take that away from me in any way, shape, or form?
You are correct, absolutely.
Okay, because I'm an avid gardener and I
course. We
compost and I
encourage
want
that.
to keep doing, okay. And then the comment is just about the 2% discount. I'm glad to see it was optional because that's something that I wrote down early, but 2% discount translates to something like, what, 76 cents a month? That's frankly kind of a joke for the amount of money that it's saving the city. 76 cents is not a lot to return to my pocket every month. It might be nice to try to make that a little bit higher, to put some more money back into the pockets of the residents who are working really hard to make the city what we know it can be. So just let it go at that.
Thank you.
Reasonable.
My name is Jan Crouch, and I'm a little bit to the side of what we've been talking about, and I'm not seeing anything. Are we addressing any alternatives for these humongous trash receptacles that are lining our streets? You drive up any street and all you can see are trash receptacles in the fronts of houses. This is our capital of this state, and it looks like one big entrance to the incinerator. So do we have an alternative for people? Because a lot of people, I know that there's families in the city, but there's also seniors, there's also single people that are living in dwellings. They don't need even the 10-gallon or whatever the smallest one. They don't even need that. They need an alternative, maybe a bag that they can put out. They don't have to drag it back in. They don't have to drag it through their house. Or they can have one bag for recycling, one bag that, and I mean, I would pay for it. I would pay additional, not to have to look at these trash cans in front of all of these facilities, anywhere that you go, even try to walk the streets, and you can be blown away by the stench that's coming out of these cans that are being left on the street. And if you're gonna, and then the final thing I'm gonna say is that if you're gonna save $100,000 by going to a yearly thing, put it to adding additional officers, and let's start really forcing the enforcement. And you're gonna need 3-4 people to walk the streets constantly to have any kind of enforcement. One guy is not gonna be able to do it. He's gonna be overwhelmed. And I mean, and I think that the trash people do a great job.
Thank you.
They've always been very responsive. And I know that you've got more than you can handle to do. And that's it.
Thank you.
Do you want to talk about placement of containers? Because that's something which is addressed in the ordinance?
Yes,
Or,
well-
yeah.
Okay, you want to?
It's about 3 years ago now that we brought out all these containers to the city, and the city really took control of the situation, took a stand, bought the containers and handed them out. And we had a couple of hiccups when it came to the size of containers, but we worked really hard to make sure people had a size they could deal with. But let's face it, there are parts of this city where people produce gobs and gobs of trash. And having bags of it sitting around is a problem in a city with plenty of wildlife in it. And well, even the carts aren't enough to stop the squirrels. You should see some of the holes that the squirrels can dig in these really strong containers. And I know that it used to be the rule that everybody had to take their containers in. And I can understand why people are annoyed by this, but the amount of trash produced in the city requires that we do this. And one of the things we're doing with this whole ordinance is we're trying to rein people in and to try to force them to use just one container per household. And this is an issue that we need to face. I mean, as we've grown our new fleet of trash trucks, as we've grown our terrific team of guys who are doing all this work every day, we're trying to get a handle on this issue. And one of these days, we're going to be able to go to the public and tell them different ways that we can reduce the trash flow in this city. I mean, recycling is one very important way to do it, and we're not doing it well enough. And one of our challenges is to improve recycling in a big way. And we've got some tools you're going to be hearing about in the next month or so. And but we've got to get the city involved in this issue. And it's a really tough one. And you'd think that it would be easier to deal with because of the cost is so high that people would care more about this. But we're open to any and all suggestions as to how better to reduce the amount of trash in the city. And it's a real tough issue, but we want to do it. Sir?
Okay. Yep.
Hi, my name is Tina Murray, and I live right down the road here, and I am an avid recycler, and I have a lot of concerns. I have a couple statements to make, and then I have a couple questions. Your new program that you're having, I'm completely against it, 150%. I will not, under any circumstances, drive my glass down to some container sitting somewhere in the city. I will not. And if you're going to have enforcement officers go through my trash and fine me for not taking my glass down there, I'm going to have a problem with that. I will take a barrel for glass, a barrel for cans, a barrel for cardboard. I already have 2 barrels. I will do anything I can to assist and help, but I am too busy to drive my stuff down there. What about the people that are too handicapped, too poor, too lazy? We're filled with litter across the streets everywhere. You're just encouraging them to throw it. I have a problem with that. So am I going to be fined if I put my glass in the trash bin instead of a recycle?
No, and I would say that it is possible that we could eventually implement curbside glass recycling. That's something that we will consider moving forward. This was a transitional step, and we thought it was worth taking and experimenting on. And I think it works for a large percentage of the population, but not for everyone. So we hear your feedback, and that's something that we'll consider. Another possible, we also have the issue of once we have our composting facility up and running, how we're going to collect yard waste. That may change slightly, and it might be something that we need to adapt. Perhaps we can get a new recyclable container at some point which has divisions in it for different types. Glass is not the only thing. We're talking about possibly the need to separate out paper at some point. The markets are changing, but we are open to your feedback and your suggestions, and I think you should see the glass drop-off locations as the beginning of the conversation and not the end of the conversation.
And I think that everybody should have an equal say and power in distributing the fines for all the blight that's in the city. I applaud that. But at what point are they going to be able to overextend their fines and rates? I mean, are they going to be going through everybody's trash? I mean, that's an awful expense of time. I mean, where is the policing of that going to be done?
Yeah, these are important considerations to discuss and weigh, and there's no question that we are increasing fines dramatically, but we are not out to get or fine the Harrisburg resident. We are really out to get or fine the people that are taking advantage of the situation, the dumpers, the out-of-town landlords, the people that don't care about our community. And it's going to require enforcement and discretion and leadership, but rest assured, we're not looking to go through your trash to see if you put in a glass bottle. Would you like to say anything further?
Yeah, no, you stated it, sir.
Okay.
We are out to get those who do not live in our communities and who dump trash everywhere, and that's more of what's happening than anything. That's our illegal dumping, that's our blight. For people who don't live here, who don't care, who doesn't have to live next door to the pile of trash that they don't, That's what we're really after. We're not after the residents.
Well, that brings up another question, which is fair, because where do you hold somebody accountable? Are you holding the landlord accountable or the renter who lives there? Where does the responsibility fall to the renter who just throws their trash out and piles it up, or because they don't want to pay the bill because they're a renter? So at
That's a
what
good point.
point are you going to cross over and take care of the citizens, the renters, the problems, and not every renter's a problem, so I didn't mean it that way by any means, because there's some wonderful renters who take great pride in their properties. But who's going to be held accountable? At what point do you make that decision?
Well, as we go after those who are illegally dumping, you go after the owner of the property. That's the direction that you take. And if I own a property and my renter is illegally dumping and I receive the bill, then that's going to be my obligation to deal with the renter.
And I just do have a comment that putting the trash bill in with the taxes is an excessive burden. It needs to be a separate bill, not combined, because I can afford to pay my bills, I'm lucky, but I'm not always been that lucky. And there's a lot of people that can't afford that, so it's too much on one bill.
And do you feel that way even if there's an option for a monthly, for opting into a monthly payment plan?
I think, like the other lady said, maybe at a different time in the month, but having it joined into the property tax bill is highly inappropriate.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to, though, follow up on something that was just said regarding the illegal dumping. I think one of the reasons why we actually want to have an enforcement officers is because they will be trained to do that investigation of where is this dumping coming from. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And we just want to make certain that wherever the investigation leads, that's what we will use in terms of determining an illegal dumper. I don't want it just to be said that this is targeting outsiders. It depends on whoever is doing it. If your neighbor's doing it, whoever's doing it. But that's the reason why we need enforcement officers who are specifically trained to do that investigation. So I just want to clear that piece up.
That's correct. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Maria Davis, 14 South 20th Street. And I'm one that leaves my recyclable bin out in front of my house on the dirt so people can put their bottles, cans. I didn't know that glass wasn't permitted in the recyclable bin. So yes, there needs to be another alternative other than having the residents drive wherever to put their glass in another area. And that's a good idea, other than having a separate container, have it divided, so we would have the cardboard, the plastics, the glass. That's a good alternative. And crack down, yes, on the renters that put their trash in your trash or just throw their trash randomly in the container without it being in a trash bag. You know, everybody needs a place to live, but everybody also should know how to live.
Good
Thank you.
points.
Good evening, Bo Brown, city resident, and here on behalf of Friends of Allison Hill also. I wanted to say that I think you guys are really off to a good start with these changes, because I think you deal with a lot of things that a lot of folks have just kind of shoved to the side. I think this is, a good start. People do have some valid concerns, particularly with the billings of the trash with the taxes, because that, a mistake could lead to a default notice by a mortgage company if things get, sent the wrong way. But before I get into some of the questions, I wanted to touch on the eminent domain. I've kind of followed that for a little bit. I've made an assumption that you guys were going to have to do this a few years ago, and I just want to say that a very sharp and creative defense could argue a value and be awarded a value that would be, that could exceed a possible sale price. Okay, and Mr. Gladstone, I was actually an apprentice under Gladstone from 2000 to 2005. I know how he thinks. If he has not wargamed out a value strategy and a defense to a defense, I would ask him to do so. So that's just that. I mean, I wish you luck, but I think that you could get taken for a bath if you don't do it correctly.
And I think we should just state for the record that we would have preferred a purchase.
Yeah.
And we did work very diligently. That's why it hasn't happened yet, and
Yeah.
why we've spent the last couple of years, but we have just not been able to reach a mutually agreeable figure.
Yeah, and I understand that those things happen, but still, it doesn't mean you won't end up paying more. The rules that you guys said that could be set forth by the director, will those rules be set forth prior to this being codified, or will it be after the fact?
There will be rules and regulations, and there are rules and regulations, but there will also be the flexibility to add to those rules and regulations over time as things, become apparent and needed. So there are currently rules and regulations.
Yes.
And those can be inspected.
Okay. The other thing is, have you guys put any consideration, or have you opened the lines of communication to work with the schools? Because someone else touched on this. I mean, at 8 o'clock, in the morning, walking to school, walking from school on 19th Street, the elementary students, Roland and Scott School, they just throw the trash on the ground. Nobody cares. I mean, they don't care. So I don't know if there's any educational programs that are being, not that you can control it, but you can work with the school district to try to implement those things. I'm sure there may be some programs now, but I guess they're just not strong enough.
I'll just say it's been hard to work with the school district on these issues. Prior to our taking over and redoing sanitation, school district really wasn't doing any recycling at all. We have pushed and pushed and pushed to try and implement recycling, and we have a little bit of success because since recycling is free and trash is so expensive, it's in their financial interest to recycle, and we've tried to make that case. But and I think, Dave, you could talk a little bit about some of the things we're doing with the school district.
Yes, we have actually decreased the school district waste stream by, we've taken them 40 to 50 different types of recycling cans for them to recycle cardboard, to recycle single stream, to recycle their paper, and it's reduced in their trash waste. I think your question was, could the education piece of the students be implemented on another level? Is that what you're asking?
Well, yeah, because it seems if nobody's telling these kids. First of all, you can watch the kids throw the trash on the ground, and you can see the principal just overlook it. You can see the teachers just overlook it. So nobody cares. So you see the chip bags, you see the Coke bottles, or the soda bottles, or whatever they are, and nobody's doing anything about it. Nobody's saying to the kids, "Hey, pick that back up," and on top of that, there's no trash can out there for them to put it in.
Now, on our end, we are working on receptacles for the corners throughout the city of Harrisburg. So when they do reach these corners, they have an opportunity to put their waste in those cans. As far as the school district, they have meetings that maybe some of the residents can go to ask them if they can set up some type of education for these students to have them gain interest in to go into the trash can versus dropping it on the ground.
Sure.
And we do have one ambitious plan, cooperative plan with the school district in proposal now, which is the proposal for the new composting site, which is actually on school district property, and it's right on the edge of the city. And we are working with them and have shared with them ideas as to a new curriculum, which we envision this as sort of an outdoor classroom where students can learn about all aspects of the carbon life cycle and hopefully gain a greater appreciation for why it is important not to just throw your trash in the street. This is a partnership that we've been working on for a while. It hasn't come to fruition yet, but we think it could be a really exciting thing. We'd also potentially like to work with the school district on our greenhouse facility that we have in Reservoir Park, other educational opportunities down the line, all of which I think will help address the trash issue because, but it is ultimately their decision on curriculum, and the city can only work to try and partner.
Sure. The other thing to that is that I think that a lot of people put all of the burden onto the city and onto the school, but you always hear their narrative that it takes a village to raise a child, okay? Well, I think the people of Harrisburg should be courageous and empowered to tell the kids to pick up the trash when they just drop it in front of their porches. So that's just something as a responsibility of the people to consider too. But the last thing that I have is on the vacant tax parcel relief, okay? I can't help but think that maybe I had some participation in that. I've been very vocal on social media. I've been very descriptive on the fact that I believe that some of these billings could be, if it was in the private sector, they could be related to theft by deception, where your payment is demanded for a service, but the service is not provided. In my case, I've not had trash picked up on a parcel for 20 years. And I'm not blaming anyone here. Some of you guys weren't even here, but that has cost me a lot of money. I have a lien against my property for the trash from Universal, which I'm going to get ejected because nobody enforced that. No big deal. But I have a current balance for trash that was never picked up on a property that can't legally produce trash per the zoning, per occupancy, per anything. There's no legal ability for it to have occupancy to produce trash. And because of that, because I've had these trash bills and because I have this lien, then I just, why should I pay that? I have a track record of 4 years making attempts to various folks within the city, even to your former assistant, Kathy. I have an email thread back there where this is the first time that it's really been responded to, okay? And during that time, I've accumulated a lot of invoicing, okay? And that has prohibited me from consolidating my lots into my house, okay, which would reduce my real estate tax burden, okay? It would reduce the tax liability. So, I mean, I believe I'm out about 10 grand, like in the hole right now, active. So I would like, I'm not going to, bring all that out, but I would like for somebody to contact me so that we could work this out somehow. I'm not asking for the money, but I'm asking for some type of workout because this is preventing me from moving forward. The changes are great, but there has to be some retroactive stuff in order to make me at least partially whole for the unnecessary things that I've had to be burdened with by these improper billings.
Well, let us make the changes through this proper process. And then there's a separate process for dealing with disputed bills and disputed accounts, and we can get there. I think the one thing that you should understand is that we, meaning this administration, this city council, did not set these trash terms. They were set under receivership, and we are now very thoughtfully and methodically, and maybe it seems slow, and it is in some respects slow, but we've made a lot of changes over the past 4 or 5 years with regard to sanitation, and we now wish to address this issue, and really this is the way to do it. I can't ad hoc just determine we're going to do something special for you or something special for somebody else. But
Not here, but somewhere separately.
I understand, but through the legislative process, we can fix these things. So if you have other concerns and other questions that you want to see addressed, now's the time for your feedback. And
Well, I'd like to know who the best contact would be to seek a resolution on that. What's the name? Who's the attorney? Who's the accountant? Who would they be?
Speak to Ron. He's our.
Do you have a business card? I don't want to do it in front of everybody. There's other people behind me.
It would be our office of the solicitor, and Ron will give you his contact.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Neil, can I speak to you? Oh, buddy, we're going to have a good conversation. Okay.
But remember, right now, the law has a minimum rate.
I get it.
I'm trying to encourage you to, let's do the proper step of changing this first, okay?
I'm with it, yeah. But afterwards.
Afterwards, yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Banks Johnson. I live 2974 Croydon Road. One of the residents had brought up about the billing, and I liked that, and I'm going to speak on it too. First time I was in this building, and I feel, living in the city, it should be somewhere easy for us to come and pay our bills. Y'all took and back the handicap away from everybody who is handicapped, and I feel, seem like you would have some room in here right now that you can open up a room that we can come and pay our bills.
Yeah, so I hear this, and I like this. The treasurer was not able to be here tonight, but I think he will be at the future meetings in June. Deputy Treasurer is here. But just so you understand, the collection of money is, by law, the function of the city treasury. We handle the operations and, in this case, even the billing, but the actual collection of payments, when people pay them, has to go to Treasury. So it's ultimately a decision of the treasurer if the treasurer wanted to have a outpost or a secondary places to pay bills. Now, I will be conveying the feedback, and we can have that as part of the conversation, but just know that that's not something that we have the direct ability to implement.
Not even like before you had parking in the back for the handicap?
Parking we could do, and that
Because you
is.
don't have that right now. You took it away.
So we've talked to Treasury about that,
Okay.
and we are willing to sort of bring that back. There are some building security concerns, which is why we've put in a new interior door and we've been doing some improvements because, but that is an active conversation with the treasurer. And I will also convey that you'd like to see that return and the ability to, I assume, enter through the back door.
Yes, and I know this ain't the right time, but I'm going to use this. The animals, the cats.
Cats.
I had Council Johnson come out. I live, like I said, nice, very nice neighborhood. He took pictures. They had like 10 bowls feeding stray cats. Fred came out, I don't know how many times, but they're still doing it, and they try to be slick at night and feed the cats. Now you got all these other animals coming. Now you get on to people about the dogs. Why can't we do something about these cats? Because they're taking over in the city. I mean, I don't want no cats pissing. Excuse me. Because I don't have no cats. When I had my dog was right there where I live. He didn't go somewhere doing his mess. If he did, I picked it up. But I just don't think it's fair that we have to put up with this.
Okay.
And something definitely needs to be done. And it's getting hot. And like I said, I had proof, and he took pictures.
Okay. I will say that that's another example of where we've sort of grown the capacity of the city a little bit. We used to have one animal control officer. We now have
Yes.
two.
Yes, you got two.
That's positive, so we're working on that. And we'll.
But he's not working hard enough because,
All right.
to me, he should have been really finding them.
We'll follow up. I'll follow up on. I think what we're going to plan to do is, but you can say this too. We're probably going to say the same thing, which is we have taken copious notes of all the comments and questions at this meeting, and what we'll probably do is we'll start the next meeting just sort of proactively addressing some of these questions, and that'll be on the list, and I'll try and follow up.
And I do want to thank y'all, and I do see y'all going around the neighborhood now. We have some rentals that the grass is high. I see y'all.
Working on that. Yep.
So I want to thank y'all for that job. But now just to get with these cats.
Cats. Okay. All right.
Thank you. And then
Because
again,
I'm sick of this.
and then again, if you can, well, you talked to Councilman Johnson already, but if you want to have,
But that was last year.
okay, well,
This is
They're back.
another year.
Cats are back.
all right.
All right.
So
Okay.
they're back. So if you can give Miss Chardin Hudson your address, and we can follow back up on that issue as well.
Okay.
All right.
And I'm home. I'm just retired. So you come by.
Yeah, Tim Rowbottom, 333 South 18th Street. I had a couple things that were brought up that I wanted to bring up. I guess I'm having trouble understanding the incinerator deal for the residents. I'm having trouble understanding how that's still being allowed to be portrayed out through, put it this way, we have, I think it's 3 times the amount for city residents or close to turn in trash to the incinerator. And then we wonder why Harrisburg is flooded with trash is because they made the deal that was made for us to try to overcome is put us in an unobtainable way to achieve that. Meaning anybody that I know that pays bills, if they're not a property owner, they're not engaged, they're not caring about trash, they're especially caring about getting by and being able to provide for their families. And if it involves paying a private dumper or paying this or paying that, or even taking it down the street and dumping it themselves, or I just don't see how this deal currently is set up to protect the residents. I see that it got the city out of a big problem, but the residents now carry the problem, you know, and now we have to carry the problem that's created by the city, and I think that's very unfair, and I just would like that noted, and I don't think that you're gonna get the proper results until you rectify that. I also would like to know, like what Bo said, what about bills for services charged for services that were never received, and even to the point where they denied, or where they were even denied on the city's own computer screen, and noted. And I would also like to add into that, like who monitors the enforcement officer? I mean, who's the monitor that monitors the monitor? Because at the end of the day, I've been witness to lies by this direct administration, by you, Dave West, taking the stand and saying that you picked up my trash, and I have crystal clear evidence to prove otherwise for every single month, every single week, down to the science. And so what I'm trying to say is, when Aaron Johnson is told by the mayor that he admitted in front of 20, 30 different people that he was told to not talk to me or deal with me in any way concerning trash for an email thread that went over multiple years since he came into office, I have a big problem with that, because that creates multiple hazards. You know, it creates problems with rodents, with animals, with every type of thing. And when an administration is allowed to keep repeatedly allowing more enforcement, where they use it as a strategic way to target individuals, and have that at their disposal, there needs to be somebody set up to monitor the guy that monitors us. Because at the end of the day, I think the people with the money and the people with the power have a lot more opportunity to abuse the system than the residents. And it's a common complaint from people that I've talked with. And I think, you know, a lot of that is gonna be revealed, and I feel bad, because I like you, Dave West, but I'm coming for your job. I just want to let you know, because you lied on my life, you lied on my kids, on where they reside. I have tenants, and this is all under this guy's direction. I have a problem with that. So I would like some truthfulness between the administration if we're going to start on a good foot. As far as the glass, I would like to say that that's a setup for failure. I don't see any person in the city, anybody that I know, that would participate in that in a positive manner. I think it's a setup for failure. I think if you're going to address glass in a positive way, that you should address it in a manageable way, which is going to be to provide a way that the residents can do it without going out of their way, because they'll walk right by a trash can and throw it on the floor, you know, and throw it on the ground. So to get them to actually think of, hey, we're going to separate glass and drive down the street, that isn't going to happen. And I would think that you could come up with a better plan. I guess my last statement would come down to eminent domain of this property. Me being a property owner, this is my primary exit to my property, and I also serve city council. I served you, Mayor. I served multiple people with a complaint that I've heard no results from. I've heard nothing in response to, which put you guys in violation of your lease with Brenner, number one. With the current conditions of the property. Number two, I think that there was no thought whatsoever for the residents put into this eminent domain idea. It was only thought about it getting you guys out of your jam that you're in, and it's not set up to say, hey, like the other lady, I forget her name, came in and she said that, you know, now this is one of the primary sites for people passersby to Harrisburg that are going to see it as a dump. They're going to see a big trash cans everywhere, trash trucks everywhere, and it's not bringing good positive image or good positive business to Harrisburg or to my property. And this is a direct violation I think of my property rights of not including these property owners that are affected by bringing a trash site to a commercial neighborhood zone, which is the zone that you guys created. So, I mean, you guys created a zone that said commercial neighborhood, and it says you can't do this, you can't do that. But guess what? If you're a municipality, you're allowed to do that. And I think that's a joke. I think that you guys need to man up and start living up to your responsibilities as leaders, and to be able to lead in a much positive way, and to be able to find some better suitable conditions for these ugly sites. And then you want to cite other people for the same thing that you guys are responsible for? I'd like it on the record that it's a joke, and that there is a lawsuit coming. And I think that there's going to be a lot more as one's filed, because I know in another instance that is an open site that you're charging the projects 4 times.
Wait a minute, no.
Charging the projects
Wait a minute.
4 times the amount.
Wait a minute.
4 times the amount, and making them use you.
This is a forum for people to discuss this sanitation bill.
That's what I'm discussing.
And what you need to do is to be respectful, not only to the administration, but the city council.
I pay taxes.
And to the rest of the people that are here.
Okay, well,
Now,
they
if
probably
you
have
have
the same
a
problem.
question regarding sanitation, ask the question. But if not, there are a lot of other people who look like they have sanitation questions right now.
So you're telling me 30 plus people just came through here. You didn't stop a single one of them, but the one that holds you accountable is the one that you want to stop. That's the only one you want to stop. You're a joke, bro. You're a joke.
For the record, I'll just say, we appreciate your comments. We disagree in our interpretation, but we appreciate your comments. Go ahead.
Good evening, my name's Juliet Johnson, and I wanted to find out, you mentioned about cutting down on paper with the one-year billing, but why do we have to pay a fee if you pay online?
If you pay online. So online billing is something that we've recently passed a new contract with a new company that is going to charge less than ever before for paying online, but there's still a fee. And the reason is that there's credit card companies charge a fee when you pay via credit card.
Well,
you don't pay it as a person, but the merchant or
Right, but what about your checking account? Because, I mean, it's in this day and age of technology, it's easy to pay online.
You can
but
pay.
If you have to pay a fee, that,
There's
per
no fee. You can sign up for regular direct ACH payments from your checking account. No fee, simple, no paperwork. You can do that right now. So there's no cost to that. The fee comes when you pay by credit card, and we have worked to try and reduce the fee. And we have a new company, but there's a credit card processing fee.
And I wanted to ask, the curbside pickup, you mentioned about the trash cans, which I think it's a good idea, except if people, how will, stop people from putting their own trash in those curbside trash cans? And how often would that be picked up?
We picked up every week that we are in that area. We pick up the trash in 5 areas, 5 days a week. Every day we pick the same trash. Monday, every day, Tuesday, we'll pick the containers up in that area during the trash route. If we find out that the container is being filled even more than that, then we'll pick it up accordingly.
And I just wanted to say that I hear a lot of people mention about cleaning up Harrisburg. There is the Stop the Drop, which Capital Region does every month, and people are welcome to sign up. And I know they want more areas, but there's not enough people. So if people really want to clean up the city, there's also Clean and Green that does cleanup. But I go there, and it's always just a handful of people. So it's like when people mention about the children cleaning up, children live what they learn. If their parents aren't putting the trash in the can, I don't think we can expect the children to put the trash in the can. So we need to reach the parents. That's how I see it. So that the children will learn from their parents, because if I'm not doing it, I don't think my child is going to follow you because mom isn't doing it, so why should I? So I'm just saying that there are ways for us to work with the city to clean up Harrisburg. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Kenneth Hughes. I live at 2020 Briggs Street. And I got a question on the billing because like, my father passed away and I've been taking care of my mother for the past 14 years. I just received a can on Monday. Now, I paid my water bill because I got to get the house back in order. But my I paid the water bill, but my trash bill is so outright. And then nobody was in the house because they know the can wasn't there and the house been boarded up the whole time. But now I called and they're telling me that I've been penalized. I'm paying double on 1 month. This is why my bill got up. My water bill was less than what my trash bill is. And now I'm trying to get somebody to work with me, and they're telling me it is what it is. I mean, I can't pull it out of my pocket right away, and I mean, I'm just now trying to get everything back together, and I'm like, this is crazy. You know, so I don't know who I talk to. Who can I be directed to?
So your comments are similar to the ones before, which is we are trying to address the issue. Historically, in Harrisburg, you've been billed for trash service.
There wasn't no service
I understand,
there, yeah.
but whether or not you took advantage of it or not, that's and we are changing that. That is the proposal, is to change that so that you will only be charged if there is service. So my recommendation will stay the same as it was for the last one, which is let us correct what we, or let us deliberate whether or not we want to correct this. And once we've done that, that's a statement in and of itself. And then reach out to the city, contact us, and we can talk about the, the disputed claim. And just, and right now, you are having trash service, so stay
just
current.
now,
Stay
that's
current,
what I'm
and we can talk about the disputed charges
Okay,
later.
I just wanted to see what steps I could
Okay.
take to get this situated.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Melvin MacArthur, and I live over on Mulberry Street in Harrisburg, but I own a property at 20th and Rudy Road. I get out there at least 2-3 times a week to cut it, not a week, a month, to cut it and try to keep it clean and keep all the bottles and the trash and the leaves. I shudder to think tomorrow or whenever it stops raining, when I go over there, how many tree limbs and bottles and all of this that I'll have to clean up and try to get away, throw away. A classmate of mine was helping me take away all the tree limbs and a lot of the trash and everything. And like they said, the TVs, the tires, and all of that. And I called the city and asked if they would come over and, help me with it or whatever, tell me where to take it. But nobody seems to be able to do anything about the dumping. And when it all started, they tell me that the neighbors come over and jump on me about it. I say, well, if you see it, let me know, get the license numbers. But then the city told me that if I don't see the person doing it or the person that sees it doesn't want to come forward, that they can't do anything about it. Also, I have had that property, the gas company and electric came out to put the signs up that if you throw trash, that you'll be fined. They did that twice, and the sign was put up on the other lady's property and not on mine. So, I mean, are you still putting the signs up and everything? Because, like I said, hey, I'm 69 years old, and I get out there and I cut that grass and pull the weeds and this and that and everything, but then at the bottom of the property, there's cars and trash and this and that and everything. And I've told the city, and Fadouk, him and he knows me very well. I filled out the things for the cars to be towed, and I don't want the people there. The signs, it doesn't make sense to put them up because they just tear them right down. They come out there, they do everything. But, and like I told them, I said, well, just tell them to tow the cars, you know? There's no reason for the cars to be there. I told them, I said, hey, if you want to park your car there, pick this trash up, cut this grass, I'm old. I do it, you can do it. But the city won't do that. So, I mean, it's just a losing battle, and I feel that the neighbors are so rude. The men come there, my own black brothers, bring their dogs up there and see me cutting that grass and will let their dogs go to the bathroom and will not bag it. I even carry bags. I said, here. And also, one of your city personnel last year, I confronted him about letting his 2 dogs go to the bathroom on the property, and he told me, he got mad at me because somebody else had let their dog go there. I said, well, I didn't see that person, but you're fussing at me, and this, I said, I'm not fussing at you, I just want you to bag your dog. And then he proceeded to tell me that nothing was going to happen to him anyway because he works for the city.
Was this in his private, this wasn't like a police officer with a canine? This is
No,
just a private?
No, just
okay.
a city
Well,
worker.
do you know the person's name?
No.
Okay, so, well, do you want to address Rudy Road, which is, or do you want to address anything about that?
Well, we want to take your information to go to the location.
Aaron has my information. He knows me.
Well, specifically in terms of
But I
asks.
still will. I still will.
You'd
give
like
it
a sign, I
also.
heard that, correct?
Huh?
You'd like a sign,
Yes.
a no
the
dumping with
sign,
fine, yep, okay.
It was, but like I said, the gas and the light company, whoever you had to contact, I contacted them twice, and they never brought it. Then when they brought it, they put it on the other lady's property. She
Okay.
didn't call.
Well, we might be able to do a sign. I
Yes,
think that's
if
an
you get
easy
your
thing that we could
information,
do, so.
we can help in some of those instances that you were just talking about.
All right, and what about the tree limbs and stuff? Like I said, they pull those tree limbs over there like I don't know what. And those are the neighbors right there. Those are my dear neighbors right there at that property. They're not anybody coming in dumping with the TVs and the doors and this and that and the neighbors. And the reason why I personally don't want them to park there is because they bring their trash over on my side and dump it.
Okay, well, we're gonna look into it,
Yes,
and
we just
we
need
will.
that
we
information
will-
so we can
Okay.
investigate the issue.
Thank you.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
My name is Roosevelt Evans, and I live on Berry Hill Street. And I just want to ask that, first of all, I just want to say thank you all for all that you do. Amen, because a lot of times,
Thank you.
You know, people have issues with the decisions that you all make, you know, and I think y'all doing the best you can, and thank you for what you do, amen, first of all. And, but I got an issue with my back alley. It's potholes. So when I drive back there, it's kind of tap my front ends on my car and stuff. So I would like to y'all to look at that issue in my back alley. I think it's Alice Avenue or something like that.
All right, give her your information and we will, it's in the rear of your property?
Yeah.
All right, give her your information and we'll look into that. We have a pothole truck go out on the days that we're not paving, so we address the pothole issue also. We will address the issue.
All right, and if I have some trash, just call in and put that out on the curb, or, you know, like a mattress, or if somebody leave tires or something like that, you could put that out.
Well, you allow one bulk item with your trash per week.
Okay,
So
You can put one item out per week. I think what Dave was saying, if you want to organize a cleanup, like on your block, something more than just you, but you can work with our Public Works Department, and they can arrange to come and collect of what's gathered. So if you want to clean up the whole alley or something like that.
Okay. A certain person I call, and one of the cards it's back there on the table?
Yes, you
Yes.
can call the public work office. My card is there. You have Jeff Baltimore card. You also have Howard's card. He's the enforcement
It's
officer.
these guys right here.
Yes,
So,
this
yeah.
team.
Okay.
This is the
And I'd
team.
like to say thank y'all again because I do see a difference.
Good.
Thank you.
All right.
Good. Is there, are we, yeah?
Before you go walk away, let me get your information so you can.
I'm back again.
All right.
I know you're, going back, I noticed there's a lot of tire issues. Dauphin County at one time had a recycling for tires, like a 1 day or 2 day. Maybe, like you say, people bring them in from the outside. Maybe if you can talk them into it, you can do like a collective type thing and move this tire issues somewhere else.
It's a
Just
good
a
suggestion.
thought.
Yep, it's a good suggestion. We've done sporadic
Yeah.
tire collections, but.
Yeah,
yep.
well, that was, I think, only one time that I remember, but I think it
Okay.
might work, who knows?
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carol Cooksey, and I don't want to see the city have any more power to take money from its residents with these fines,
Okay.
because anybody can dump anything in your trash can in front of your house, so I just don't want to see any more fines. Then you have people, they said there's enforcers that are going to be walking around. It takes me back to where the city gave the parking tickets over to somebody else, and they were just running around just giving out tickets, then taking you to the district justice. And I just don't want to see the city get any more power to give people fines. What I see, you said that you've hired more people to do different things. I'd like to see them do what they're hired to do and then see how things work out. But you say you have more people to do the different things, and I have another issue with the trash. I mean, I watch the guys come by and pick up my trash. Some days they leave it. Some days they dump a little bit and leave a little bit in there. So I'd just like to see the city, the trash, the public works do their jobs, and like I said, with the new people you hired, I'd just like to see them do their jobs for a few years before you talk about even fining residents.
Where do you live, ma'am?
I live at 1538 North 5th Street in Harrisburg.
Thank you.
Yep, I'll say a couple things. So this is a serious conversation about fines. It is a serious power, and that's why we want to have a good conversation about it. But we do feel if done well and properly, it's going to be it will help get the city cleaner. And it's not like parking, because we're not talking about privatizing or hiring a company to do this. We're talking about whatever enforcement occurring directly under the supervision of our Public Works Department, which is why it's important you know and you trust this team. But it is a different scenario. Okay? And Wes, do you want to finish us off?
All right, well, first, I just want to thank everyone that's still here for sticking in there. We know it's been a long meeting, but I think we've got a lot of positive feedback from residents and comments so that we can look to as we move forward to make some potential amendments to and proposal changes to the bill as we currently have it stand. We do have 2 additional meetings. The next one will be on June 6th at the Berry Hill Street Boys and Girls Club at 5:30 again. That's 1227 Berry Hill Street. And following that, we'll have a meeting on June 13th up at the Camp Curtin YMCA, and that'll be at 5:30 as well on June 13th. If there aren't any additional comments, again, we just want to thank everyone for coming out. We will take all of your feedback into consideration as we move forward with this process. If you have additional questions or concerns, feel free to reach out through the City Council's office or the administration so we can work to address those issues. And please tell your friends and residents and neighbors to come out to our next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you all.